One overlooked maintenance step just cost someone $5,000 in repairs. Not because they ignored a warning light, not because they drove through deep water, because they believed what the manual said about lifetime fluid. I'm exposing 5 mistakes costing thousands that mechanics never mention up front. These aren't rare issues. They're happening to millions of drivers right now, and number 3 destroys transmissions in under 50,000 miles. This video will change how you treat your car forever. Mistake number 1, the lifetime fluid transmission lie. Here's the biggest scam hiding in your owner's manual. Lifetime transmission fluid. Sounds convenient, sounds engineered. It's neither. No transmission fluid lasts forever despite what manufacturers claim. The chemistry proves it. At operating temperature between 180 and 220 degrees Fahrenheit, automatic transmission fluid breaks down through oxidation. Heat, friction, and metal particles degrade the additive package after 60,000 to 80,000 miles. The base oil loses viscosity. Detergents stop cleaning. Friction modifiers quit working. When fluid degrades, clutch packs start slipping. Valve bodies clog with varnish. Solenoids stick. The transmission hunts for gears, hesitates on acceleration, or jerks during shifts. By the time you feel symptoms, internal damage has already started. Complete transmission failure costs between $3,500 and $6,000 for replacement. Rebuilds run $2,500 minimum. That's the real lifetime cost of believing lifetime fluid. The fix dealers hide costs $150 to $200. Simple drain and fill every 60,000 miles. Not a flush, which can dislodge debris and cause blockages. Just drain the pan, replace the filter if accessible, refill with fresh fluid. But here's the critical part most people miss. You must use the exact OEM specification. Modern transmissions require specific fluid formulations. Dexos for General Motors, Mercon LV for Ford, ATF+4 for Chrysler, CVT fluid for continuously variable transmissions. These aren't interchangeable. Generic universal ATF destroys modern transmissions because the friction modifiers don't match clutch pack materials. Wrong fluid causes shudder, slipping, and premature wear within 10,000 miles. I've seen transmissions grenaded at 80,000 miles because someone used cheap fluid at 60,000 miles. Check your owner's manual for the exact specification code. Buy fluid with that exact certification printed on the bottle. If the bottle says compatible with or meets requirements of, walk away. You need fluid that's licensed and approved, not similar. The transmission doesn't care what the marketing department calls lifetime. Chemistry doesn't negotiate. Heat breaks down every organic molecule eventually. Fresh fluid every 60,000 miles keeps clutches grabbing, valves moving, and gears shifting smoothly past 200,000 miles. Transmission fluid isn't the only lie. The next mistake is even cheaper to prevent and even more expensive when it fails. Mistake number 2, ignoring brake fluid flushes. Most people know about brake pads. They understand rotors wear down. But brake fluid? Nobody thinks about it until the pedal hits the floor. Brake fluid is hygroscopic. That means it absorbs water from the air through microscopic pores in rubber hoses and seals. Every time humidity changes, moisture seeps in. After 2 years, brake fluid contains 3% water by volume. After 4 years, it is closer to 7%. Here's why that matters. Pure brake fluid boils at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. With 3% water content, the boiling point drops to 280 degrees Fahrenheit. Under hard braking, especially downhill or during emergency stops, brake components can reach 300 degrees Fahrenheit easily. When water and brake fluid boils, it creates vapor bubbles. Vapor compresses. Liquid does not. You press the pedal, it sinks to the floor, and you get zero stopping power. That is called vapor lock, and it happens without warning. But vapor lock is not the only threat. Water causes internal corrosion. Brake lines rust from the inside out. Calipers seize. The master cylinder corrodes. ABS modulators fail. These components cost $800 to $1,500 to replace as a system. A brake fluid flush costs $50 to $80. Most manufacturers specify every 2 to 3 years or 30,000 miles. Check your owner's manual for the exact interval. Some European brands require it annually. The service takes 30 minutes. A technician bleeds old fluid from each caliper and replaces it with fresh DOT3, DOT4, or DOT5.1, depending on your vehicle's specification. Never mix DOT types. Each has different boiling points and chemical compositions. You can check brake fluid condition yourself. Open the reservoir under the hood. Fresh fluid looks clear or light amber. Contaminated fluid turns dark brown or black. If it is dark, schedule a flush immediately. Brake fluid does not announce failure. It just stops working when you need it most. That $50 flush prevents $1,500 in corrosion damage and keeps your stopping power intact when a child runs into the street or traffic slams to a halt ahead. Most people know about brake fluid, but almost nobody checks this next one, and it's already destroying your engine right now. Mistake number 3, using the wrong coolant in modern aluminum engines. The $10 mistake that destroys $4,000 worth of engine components. Cheap green antifreeze in a modern aluminum engine. Most people see coolant as coolant. It's all the same, right? Pour it in, it prevents freezing, stops overheating. That thinking just killed your water pump, radiator, and possibly your head gasket. Modern engines use aluminum extensively. Cylinder heads, engine blocks, radiators, water pump housings. Aluminum is lighter and dissipates heat faster than cast iron. But aluminum has one fatal weakness. It corrodes when exposed to the wrong coolant chemistry. Old-school green ethylene glycol antifreeze was formulated for cast iron engines from the 1970s and 1980s. Those additives contain silicates and phosphates that attack aluminum oxide, the protective layer that naturally forms on aluminum surfaces. Once that layer breaks down, corrosion spreads fast. The damage starts small, a pinhole leak in the radiator, weeping from the water pump seal. Then the leak grows. Coolant mixes with oil. The engine overheats. Cylinder heads warp from thermal stress. Head gaskets blow. Repair cost: $2,000 to $4,000 depending on engine design. Manufacturers specify exact coolant types for a reason. Toyota uses pink long-life coolant. General Motors requires orange Dexcool. Volkswagen and Audi need blue G12 or G13 formulations. These aren't marketing colors. They're different chemical formulas engineered for specific metallurgy. Mixing coolant types accelerates corrosion even faster than using the wrong type alone. Green plus orange creates a gel that clogs passages and destroys water pumps. I have seen Honda water pumps fail at 40,000 miles because someone topped off pink coolant with generic green. The correct approach? Always use manufacturer-specified coolant. Check the owner's manual or the reservoir cap for the exact type. Buy coolant with that specification printed on the bottle. If you must top off between services, use only the same type already in the system. Never use universal coolant. Universal means it tries to work with everything and excels at nothing. These formulas compromise on additive packages, leaving your aluminum components vulnerable. Coolant services cost $100 to $150 every 60,000 miles or 5 years, depending on coolant type. Extended life formulas last longer, but still need replacement. No coolant lasts forever despite what the bottle claims. You can verify coolant condition with test strips available at auto parts stores for $10. They measure pH and additive concentration. If the strip shows depleted additives or acidic pH, flush the system immediately. The radiator doesn't care about your budget. Aluminum doesn't negotiate with chemistry. Use the right coolant or pay for new components. That's the choice. Coolant kills slowly over years. But this next scam happens in seconds, and you won't know until it's too late. Mistake 4. The used car clean check engine light scam. Walk onto any used car lot and every vehicle looks perfect. Fresh wax, clean interior, no warning lights on the dashboard. Especially that check engine light. Here's what they're not telling you. That light was on yesterday. The dealer cleared the code 30 minutes before you arrived. When you clear a check engine light with an OBD2 scanner, the light stays off for one complete drive cycle. That's typically 50 to 100 miles, depending on the vehicle. Long enough for you to test drive, negotiate price, sign papers, and drive home. By the time the light returns, you own the problem. I'm exposing 5 dirty tricks dealers use to fake a clean engine. Trick 1. Code clearing with an OBD2 scanner. Costs $0. Takes 10 seconds. Erases stored trouble codes and turns off the light temporarily. The underlying issue, a failing oxygen sensor, a leaking evap system, a misfiring cylinder, remains completely untouched. The code returns within 50 miles. Trick 2. Disconnecting the battery. Pulling the negative terminal for 15 minutes resets the entire ECU memory. All readiness monitors reset to not ready status. The check engine light stays off until the computer completes self-tests. That takes multiple drive cycles. You could drive for a week before the light reappears. Trick 3. Tape over evap system leaks. The evaporative emission system prevents fuel vapors from escaping the tank. A loose gas cap triggers the light. So does a cracked purge valve or split hose. Dealers temporarily seal small cracks with electrical tape or silicone. Passes visual inspection. Fails after heat cycles break the seal. Repair cost $200 to $800 depending on component. Trick 4. Swapping in cheap oxygen sensors. A failing O2 sensor triggers codes P0171 or P0174 for lean fuel mixture. Instead of diagnosing the actual problem, dealers install the cheapest universal oxygen sensor available. It works long enough to pass inspection. Within 5,000 miles, the sensor fails again or triggers new codes because it doesn't match OEM specifications. Trick 5. Fuel additives to temporarily clean sensors. Pour a bottle of fuel system cleaner in the tank, drive 20 miles, and carbon deposits temporarily dissolve. Mass airflow sensors raid cleaner. Oxygen sensors respond faster. The check engine light clears, but the underlying carbon buildup returns within 1,000 miles because the root cause, worn piston rings or a failing PCV valve, never got fixed. Here's how you protect yourself. Always get a pre-purchase inspection from an independent mechanic before buying any used vehicle. Not the dealer's mechanic, your mechanic. Request a full OBD2 scan, including pending codes. Pending codes are faults the ECU detected but haven't triggered the light yet. If pending codes exist, problems are developing. Check readiness monitors. These are self-tests the ECU runs on emission systems. If monitors show not ready, the battery was recently disconnected or codes were cleared. That's a massive red flag. A legitimate seller with nothing to hide welcomes inspection. A dealer who refuses or pressures you to skip it is hiding something expensive. That clean used car with hidden codes costs $800 to $2,500 in deferred repairs within weeks of purchase. A $150 pre-purchase inspection reveals the truth before you sign anything. But even if you avoid the scam, one overlooked maintenance step kills parts twice as fast. Mistake number 5. Skipping dielectric grease on ignition coils. The $2 fix nobody does that prevents $1,500 in cascading failures. Dielectric grease. Most people have never heard of it. Mechanics use it on every ignition coil installation. You should too. Here's what it does. Dielectric grease is a silicone-based compound that seals electrical connections against moisture. When you apply it to spark plug boots before installing ignition coils, it creates a waterproof barrier. Water cannot penetrate, corrosion cannot form. Without it, moisture enters the boot. Water conducts electricity. Instead of spark jumping across the plug gap inside the cylinder, it arcs through the water to ground. The coil misfires. You feel rough idle, hesitation, and loss of power. The check engine light illuminates with codes PO300 through PA308 for random or cylinder-specific misfires. But misfires are just the beginning. When a coil arcs externally instead of firing the plug, it overworks trying to generate enough voltage. The coil overheats, internal windings break down, the coil fails completely. Replacement cost, $120 to $200 per coil. Most engines have 4 to 8 coils. Do the math. Worse, a misfiring cylinder dumps raw, unburned fuel into the exhaust. That fuel enters the catalytic converter still burning. The converter is not designed to handle open flame. The ceramic substrate inside melts. The converter clogs. Exhaust flow restricts. The engine loses power and fuel economy tanks. Catalytic converter replacement costs $1,200 to $2,500 depending on vehicle. That is the real cost of skipping a $15 tube of grease. The multiplier effect is brutal. One failed coil causes misfires. Misfires destroy the catalytic converter. Now you are replacing coils in a converter because you did not apply grease during the last spark plug change. Here is the correct procedure. Every time you change spark plugs, typically every 60,000 to 100,000 miles, depending on plug type, apply dielectric grease. Squeeze a small amount onto your finger. Coat the inside of the spark plug boot where it connects to the plug terminal. Do not glob it on. A thin film is enough. Install the coil. The grease seals the connection. Moisture stays out. Spark stays inside where it belongs. The coil lasts its full service life, often 150,000 miles or more. Dielectric grease works on more than ignition coils. Use it on battery terminals to prevent corrosion. Apply it to trailer electrical connectors to stop rust. Coat any electrical connection exposed to weather or engine heat. A tube costs $8 to $15 at any auto parts store. One tube lasts for years. But that small investment prevents coil failures, misfire codes, and catalytic converter destruction. This is why mechanics retire early. They know these secrets. They apply grease on every job. Then they charge you full price when you do not. The pattern is clear. Manufacturers hide service intervals. Dealers profit from failures. Drivers pay the price. You just learned how 5 simple mistakes cost $5,000 or more in preventable damage. Believing lifetime fluid destroys transmissions. Ignoring brake fluid causes vapor lock and corrosion. Wrong coolant eats aluminum. Dealers hide check engine lights with temporary fixes. Skipping dielectric grease cascades into coil and converter failures. The pattern connects them all. Manufacturers design service intervals to minimize warranty claims during the coverage period. What happens after 60,000 miles isn't their problem. It's yours. Check your maintenance records tonight. Verify these 5 items. Transmission fluid changed every 60,000 miles with exact OEM spec. Brake fluid flushed every 30,000 miles. Correct coolant type for your engine. Pre-purchase inspection before buying used. Dielectric grease on every coil. Drop your car's make and model in the comments. I'll tell you the #1 weak point your manual doesn't mention. That's not car care. That's financial survival.